Hello, everybody. I've got today Rachael O'Brien in the room. Welcome, Rachael. How are you?
Hi! I'm always great when I'm with you. Really?
Yeah, we have just much fun.
We do. We have a lot of fun, and also because the two of us have been through so much pain and suffering,
Yeah.
being alive is actually it's very important to us, and it's very important the way that we live our days, it really is.
Yeah. Like also the two of us to have an experience to change the world with what we know and what we can do for that. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. In fact, my point of view is I experienced so much lack and so much suffering and so much pain. And I grew up in a world that makes that more real than the abundance and the beauty of consciousness. So for me, all of that was training me to know what was real and true about consciousness and the way that we can live.
Yeah. And what's your experience with access consciousness?
Where do I begin? I was told by a psychiatrist that I was damaged and there was something wrong with me and I would never be right in 2008, I'm pretty sure. And I'm so grateful for the dad and my children, because he was like, that can't be, And so that was my diagnostic. And so then I found access consciousness. I was deeply depressed, and I would say I was experiencing myself through other people's realities. I had a history of sexual abuse, a very violent father that I didn't grow up with, but as a young child, I experienced it. And so I grew up around a lot of Irish Catholic family, a lot of abuse, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. And I came to Access deeply depressed, not knowing that I was valuable and that I matter, and that the way I create my life matters. And I started a journey 10 years ago now that I would say has catapulted me into a level of self-care that I didn't know was possible.
Wow, got goosebumps of it.
It's like I'm a total miracle. Like I will not deny that for anyone, I'm a total miracle that I can smile, that I can laugh, that I can have functioning relationships,
Yeah.
I have beautiful relationships with my 3 children. So I know I'm a miracle. And for me, I had PTSD syndrome, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And also I was literally walking through the world like this. Like adrenal pump all the time, stressed. I didn't even know what it was to not feel stressed. I didn't know what it was like to not have stress in my body. And the first time I got my bars run, I thought I was tired because I fell asleep, because I didn't know what it was like to be relaxed.
So your world is completely different than yeah.
Oh, like it's like my life now. I actually didn't meet myself for a few years, but I've actually met myself now, and I actually really like myself, and I hated myself. I hated my life and I hated myself. Whereas now I actually like myself, and I know, and I still have work to do. I know that I matter and that I'm allowed to have a nice life, and that it's okay to be happy.
Yeah. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite tool with access consciousness?
It would have to be bars. It would have to be access bars. For me, when I got my bars run, the first time ever was by a girl called Trish Moore. And if ever you're watching this, Trish, thank you. And I remember lying on the bed and I just cried for my first session, because I didn't realize that I was in so much turmoil and so much judgment of myself and so much self-hatred. And I started to have peace. I remember coming out of the Cork City Hall. It was a conference, Mind, Body and Spirit. And I remember looking up at the sky, and it was I won't ever forget, it was a blue sky, and I could sense the birds. It was like I had more of a communion with the earth and with nature. A bird just flew by. That's hilarious. I was like, huh? Oh, and another one. And the joy that I had as a little girl was there again, like the wonder that I had. Oh, how does a bird get wings, and how do they fly in the sky, and why is the sky blue, and why are the clouds white, and how come that we're here, and like what is it that my body goes to gravity? So all that like curiosity and that joy of being alive, it came in for a couple of hours. It didn't come 24 hours a day. That took a long while, you know. The bars for me allowed me, if you're watching this and you're like, what are the bars? They're points on your head that you touch, and they're a deletion system whereby if you grew up with a mom that was fearful, you lock in her patterns. So we lock in our response systems to living. We mimic the people that we grew up around, their response systems, be that doubt, fear, anger, I'm Irish Catholic, guilt, shame. So I'd mimic those response systems, and over time those response systems started to fall away, and I started to actually have the interactive moments of living again.
Yeah. And do you do it often, running your bars?
Probably, I would say anything from every second day. The longest that I've ever gone has been 2 weeks, ever, and that was just once. I make sure that I'm either living close to someone who can run bars, or, you know, I have friends that come stay with me, and my best friend Troy. So we run bars when he's here all the time, all the time. Yeah.
And did you do also other therapies before Access Consciousness?
Well, I was in Alcoholics Anonymous, I did family constellations, I studied A Course in Miracles, a beautiful book. I learned so much from it. I did Reiki, I did counseling, I did everything to get well. I really did. And I'm grateful, because all of it led me on the path to where I am now.
Yeah.
And the thing about me is I now know that I have therapies and tools that allow me to show up in my life in a way that life is a gift, because I facilitate these 3-day body classes. You've been to one.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, yeah.
And I meet people every day that it's no longer a gift to have a body, you know. And I see by someone gently touching their body or having a conversation, how having a body becomes a gift again. And I would love us to create a world that is actually enjoyable to live in.
Yeah. Do you want something to add?
No, I would just say to anyone watching this, Karen is an Access Consciousness certified facilitator.
You too.
Yeah, it's a big commitment to yourself, because you have to be willing to make consciousness more real than the lack and the scarcity and the fear in our world. So what I would say is, if you're struggling in your life, if you have depression, I was highly suicidal, please know that no matter what your head or your thoughts tell you, that there is another way to be in the world. And you can, and you really can create change. I'm not one of these people that say, you know, change it. No, it took a bit of trucking, you know, it did. Took a bit of, and but you can actually change your life.
Yeah. No matter what, you can change it.
Yeah.
And it's easier than maybe you think. It's not like this, but you can make steps towards changing.
It is, because we're trained to fit into a system of the way that we're supposed to live. So when you come out of that supposed to, and you choose what works for you, and you go for that, it's like that choice to commit to the way you would like to live, that determines all movement of the external reality matching your internal point of view, which is, I matter, and it's okay for me to have a beautiful life. And sometimes, of course, we're going to have challenges. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm going to say bad stuff or difficult things. yeah, difficult things do show up in my life. Bad stuff do show up in my life. But now I don't have to chase the good and avoid the bad. Now I can actually be present with whatever shows up and know that I can handle it and deal with it, and that I will always move through whatever shows up in my life.
Yeah, and also like being you, it's being me. It's more easy for be the whole person who you are.
Being you in a world that tells you what you're supposed to look like, what you're supposed to do for your job, what you're supposed to do in relationship, where you're supposed to live, what you're supposed to do in your family. Yeah, it's a massive reach to a massive coming together with yourself to be you.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Beautiful. Anything you would like to add before we finish today's video?
I think people just must try it. They must see what it is access consciousness for them, and start with the access bars and see what happens for them.
Yeah, it's like swimming. It's quite difficult to put the experience into words until you get in and sense what it's like in your body.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's like eating French fries or something, or something else. It's like you must taste it. You can't say it's not
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Taste it. Yeah.
yeah. We invite you to more of you.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. So I think that's all for now. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Rachel. Bye-bye.